Hey, I'm back, and this is episode 44. I'm kind of annoyed because I had already recorded part of an episode and was coming back to it, but yeah, evidently the episode decided to record and completely erase my narration. So that's something. So I basically have to re record the whole episode. Uh, anyways, I didn't get through the whole storytelling event last time, so this time, luckily, I don't have much to record over, and I have to tell a romance story, which I've told before. And then I have to get the spirit to tell a story. But, oh, it froze for a bit. uh, so, one of the things you didn't get to hear because it's on the recording that I had to throw out is that this last Saturday was my friend's birthday. The friend who specifically suggested me to play Trapper's Route initially, and afterwards he helped me decide on doing Huntress's Path. But, anyways, go ahead and leave him a happy birthday in the comments, just to be nice. Even though it's well after his birthday now. uh, anyways, I'm going with the spirit right now. Suppose I could tell the story. I don't really want to, but anything I say is sure to be better than whatever you get out of anyone else in this group. Like all good stories, I stole this one from someone in the past who is dead now and can't do anything about it. It's called Bride. Technically, I suppose, the fiance. One winter, a young couple decided that the next spring they would be married. The two were madly in love and could not wait for the snow to melt so they could join in matrimony and unite their souls for eternity. Per the latest bridal trends, they decided to have their wedding ceremony at the edge of the woods by a beautiful, shabby, cheap farmhouse. Together they spent months planning the details of the wedding, and the two created invitations, figured out seating arrangements, and tasted 100 cakes before settling on the perfect one. I feel like that would be a lot of calories. I mean, I know they aren't expecting you to like eat every bit of the cake for one, nor are they expecting you to eat like a full slice of each cake. They're more than likely just taking like one, well, basically like one medium sized bite out of each cake so you can decide, oh, we like this as a group, so let's have this at our wedding. I'm getting off topic though. uh, I'll just end that off by saying you'd have to do quite a bit of walking afterward to make up for that. Anyways, they chose Lily Koi, by the way. So fancy. Hang on a sec. I have my phone here somewhere. I don't know what a Lily Koi cake is. So I will be looking that up. Oh, I still have Facebook open on this phone. hang, hang on. I'm sorry, this is taking way longer than it should. Uh, sign in Google accounts. I don't remember putting that on my phone. Let's see now. Lily Koi cake. What does that look like? So it linked me to a live journal page that literally says bake, bake, bake. Lilikoi chiffon cake. Uh, oh, so this is just some guy's diary on how he cooked a lilikoi chiffon cake, because it seems to have a bit of a recipe in there. Okay, so there's a few different types of lilikoi cakes. Uh, Wait a minute. Someone asked, is lilikoi the same as passion fruit? Lilikoi is the Hawaiian word for passion fruit. Oh, okay, so it's just passion fruit. A vine native to South America, it was brought to the islands in the 1920s. The most common variety on Maui is the yellow lilikoi, Passiflora ediliforma flavicarpa? Huh. I never knew the scientific name for passion fruit. Or I guess it's this specific type of passion fruit. Anyways, that's the informative part of this segment done. Anyways, let's get going. I've said anyways too many times. When it came time to figure out the decorations, however, the fiance, I guess, since she wasn't actually married yet, wanted to take the lead and set the style. After all, her boyfriend had been wearing cargo shorts and open-toed sandals for pretty much their entire relationship, so he was definitely not to be trusted. Having decided on such a lovely natural setting for the ceremony, the fiancée decided that she would create unique floral arrangements from the local wildflowers that surrounded the farmhouse. As soon as the sun rose on the first day of spring, she set off into the woods. Each day she spent hours mapping out where the best blooms could be found, and prepared to pick them herself the morning of the wedding so that they'd be at the height of their freshness and beauty. Enamored with the incredible variety of flowers in the woods, she surveyed the fiancé, since they had not yet been married, became obsessed with knowing just how many there were so that she could choose the absolute best. One thing I have to say about that, it's kind of a bit of a nerdy nitpick, I guess you could say. You could take that as a segment if you want. There are so many types of plants that are poisonous, and that's even excluding things like mushrooms, that if you just head out into the woods and try to like grab flowers or fruits, maybe berries that you see, the simplest way to put it and the most meme-like way to put it is you're not gonna have a good time. There's some like toxic plants that cause hallucinogens, which I'm sure some people would, you know, have fun messing with. But when they're the types that you touch and you itch, or you get a burning sensation. And anyone who's already experienced that could tell you just how annoying that is to have to deal with. I mean, I once fell on a plant that had leaves that left a burning sensation, and it touched my ankle. So basically the rest of the day my ankle was burning the whole time. It wasn't like literally burning, but you could feel the burning sensation the whole day. And it was so frustrating because even washing it wouldn't get it to go away. uh, but that's enough of that. When the fateful morning of her big day finally came, the fiancée told her husband-to-be that she had one final errand before the wedding. Getting the flowers, right? Excited for the ceremony to come, she dressed herself in her beautiful white gown and set off into the woods to gather flowers. Treading carefully, she followed her route, selecting only the best stems and collecting them in a basket. However, when she came upon a once familiar clearing, something was not as she expected. Somehow, it was more beautiful now than it had ever been before, and just on the edge of her view was a new bush filled with blossoms, so vibrant and colorful, she became dizzy just looking at them. Okay, I know, I know this is like a comedic dating game based off a horror game, but something like that would strike me as a red flag because it feels like the startup to a horror film. I don't know if any of you've seen the movie The Ruins, but I'm gonna risk spoiling a major reveal for you. Uh, if you don't want to hear it, you can just click off the video. But in The Ruins, there is this group of people who go looking, of course, for some ruins, which is the name of the film, so I don't really have to explain it. And basically, they find the ruins, they try to basically back away to get a shot, and the people, the native people around there, are forcing them back to the ruins for some unknown reason. So they're scared because they're afraid that these native people might be, you know, cannibals. But what winds up happening is that the ruins are overrun by these plants. These, if you just looked at them from afar, they look like normal, to some people, beautiful flowering plants. But in reality, these things are horrific. And they use every trick imaginable to try and trick the group into coming closer to the plants so that the plants can overtake them and slowly and brutally dig into the people's skin before finishing them off. They even go as far at one point as to mimicking one of the people's ringtone because someone drops their phone into the ruins and they think they hear their phone ringing, so they send someone down to get it, and they see a bunch of flowers vibrating while the ringtone noise plays. So the flowers are actually imitating the phone's ringtone to try and trick them into coming down there and being trapped in there. Which, yeah, it's kind of disturbing. I mean, if you're not really into creature features, that was probably a really boring explanation. But if you do like creature features, I would suggest you looking up the movie The Ruins. I think it's on Tubi. I'm not entirely sure on that one. But if not, you guys can look it up. I might look it up after this and put it in the description where you can find it. But that's another story. and I shouldn't get so sidetracked. Anyways, but the fiancée ignored her sudden spell and pressed ahead, scooping up flower after flower. And every time she did, she noticed just further ahead, and possibly even more beautiful blossoms. Carried by the sweet fragrance of spring air, the the fiancée crept farther and farther into the woods until she turned a corner, stepped over a mossy fallen tree trunk, and realized she had been here before. But this wasn't the clearing she remembered, or at least not how she remembered it. The flowers were suddenly overripe, decaying, falling from their stems into festering moldy piles on the floor. Where bees had been now, only flies buzzed. Where the scene of flowers had once intoxicated her, the odor of mildew now made her sick. She turned and looked back, but the path was dark. Into a shadowy glen she walked and walked and walked. That day, as guests gathered at the farmhouse, the fiancée was nowhere to be seen. Her friends, family, and love began to look for her, but to no avail. They searched the pasture, the tree line, and into the forest, but there were no beautiful wildflowers or young lovers to be seen. Just old dead trees, trampled vines, and moss-covered rocks. The fiancé stayed a fiancé for eternity, always wandering, looking for fresher blooms to clip, but never finding them. Distracted by a never-ending search for perfection, unable to see that you are loved for who you are. Out there, all alone. I thought it was beautiful and sad. Just like someone we know. So that was story time. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm gonna leave this story time as a separate episode, and of course I'm gonna be recording another episode because I've already been held back by enough these past few weeks. Well, last week and this week. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.